Hello friends, we will start the today about studying the neuroanatomy and neurophysiology. It's important for various exams like the NEET, the medical science and the nursing. Okay, so this is an introductory video in which we will discuss about the neuroanatomy and neurophysiology. Hope you have some sort of idea about the other systems, for example like a digestive systems, cardiovascular system, muscular system, okay, the vascular system and also the lymphatic systems. So we will start the neuroanatomy and neurophysiology. So the neuro word is used to the study of the nervous system, okay, study of the nervous system. And you know the meaning of anatomy, it's a sectional study, and the physiology, it's a study of functions, how nervous system is working. We will study under the neurophysiology, and the structures, their morphology of the nervous system organs we will study in the neuroanatomy. I will take it both in a one way, okay. I will not divide it the like neuroanatomy separate and neurophysiology separate, because I believe if you study it separate, it's like time consuming. You can study both the things simultaneously, okay. So now see the slide, what topics we will cover in the neuroanatomy and neurophysiology. First we will discuss the overview of nervous system, okay, overview of the nervous system. Then we will study the meaning of neuroanatomy, neurophysiology. Then we will study the brief introduction to the human neural evolution, okay, human neural evolution. Then development of nervous system and parts and their neuropsychiatric importance, Now see the overview of nervous system. In the overview of nervous system, we will generally look into how nervous system is like placed in our body, first of all. Second thing is what are the parts, okay, what are their basic structural and functional unit, and second thing is how they control the various systems in our body. That's the motto of today, to understand about the nervous system. In the second topic, that's called the meaning of neuroanatomy and neurophysiology, we will see that what actually mean by the neuroanatomy and the neurophysiology. Then we will see the short evolutions. Evolution means how like we are different from the lower animals, if the basis is nervous system, okay. If the basis is nervous system, then how we are different from the other creatures as far as the nervous system is concerned. Then we will also see in the evolution that how dramatically, gradually our nervous system changes over a period of time, and we acquire the higher nervous system's capabilities, nervous system functions. Then in the another topic that's called the development of nervous systems, basically we will see the embryological aspect of the nervous system, how the newly formed fetus inside the mother wombs starting the developing of the formation of the neural tube, and then they eventually transforms into the proper mature nervous system, okay. And in the last topic, that's called the part and their neuropsychiatric importance, in this we will see that there are the various parts present in the nervous systems, okay, and each and every part shows some of the functions. So what are their some functions, and if the abnormality occurs there, then how they are represented clinically, okay. Their clinical manifestation we will see also in this lecture. So now started with the overview of the nervous system. As you know that nervous system is basically the control and coordination. They perform the control and coordination. That's the one aspect about the nervous system. Nervous system they perform basically the command, they involve basically the control and coordination. They involves control and coordination. coordination. See these two words, control and coordinations to the various body parts, See, nervous system have the capability to control almost all the functions of our body, okay? Sometimes voluntary and sometimes involuntary, okay? Now coordination means making the two body parts into properly functional. They channelize these body parts in a proper way, okay? So all those things is contributed by the nervous system. Second thing about the nervous system is there is one basic outline by which nervous system is working, that's called the processing, okay? First one is not a processing, first one is receiving, then processing, then responding. See, as we understood, okay, nervous system control and coordinate the various body functions, but how? It need information, nervous system need informations, okay? So informations from the upper body side, lower body side, mid body side, okay, everywhere, whatever things is ongoing, happening, all the informations need to be stored in the nervous system, need to be sent to the nervous system, so that nervous system can analyze those ongoing processes and make them stable, make them, we can say, the homeostatic, make them homeostatics, okay? So for that central nervous system first receive the stimuli, okay? First thing is it should went to the information should went to the nervous system. If information is not went, then how nervous system will functioning, okay? How they will control and coordinate that part, okay? So first thing is receiving. Second thing is after the receiving our nervous system basically analyze those, okay, those received information. First is information, or in medical term we can say the stimuli. They first go to nervous system, okay, and if I talk the more specifically, then it's a central nervous system. First it go to the central nervous system, information go to the central nervous system, then after the receiving central nervous system should make them analyze, process, okay? How they will process, what are the bases? See, the basis is central nervous system previously have the memory. We know we have the memory, okay? We have the capability to remember the things, okay? So that the nervous system has previously the memory, okay? So they first receive, they compare and contrast with the previously stored memory, okay? And then they will generate the response. Then they will respond, okay? Respond. So these three things is a key feature about the nervous system working. You should keep in your mind this, okay? Sometimes it's happened, there is some problems comes in the receiving phenomenon, okay? Some problems come in the receiving phenomenon. Sometimes with the processing there is abnormalities associated, and sometime in the responding, okay? Sometime in the responding. In the receiving, if the nerves is injured, okay, then the proper information won't go to the central nervous system, as you seen in the case of basically the multiple sclerosis, okay? We will discuss that disease detail. Then some of the problems related with the processing, like if the information is came, okay, but central nervous system are unable to make the proper judgment, unable to perform this analyzing process, basically the processing phenomenon. That's the one abnormality. And then sometimes the responding, they will receive they will like the processed, but they are unable to respond, like some of the we can say the motor neural problems, okay, motor neural problems. So these are the basic principle by which the central nervous system is working. Now after receiving this basic fundamental about the nervous system working, we will see that how the nervous system receive the information, how nervous system is receiving the information. See, if I draw the one typical diagram of the nervous system, see, this is one typical diagram of nervous system, okay, and you know this is a pons, this is medulla oblongata, there is a cerebellum, and this is the spinal cord, and this is a brain, okay. Now you know that nervous system is basically classified into the two types, okay, into the two types. We will not go today in the detail of the classification, we will just see the overview, The first part is called central nervous system, and second thing is called peripheral nervous system. Now what is the difference between the central nervous system and peripheral nervous system? As the name suggests, the central nervous systems, they are the main control and command organ. Is a central nervous system, okay. Main control and command organ is a central nervous system, whereas the peripheral nervous system helps to receive the information, okay. It helps in the receiving process and in the responding process. Receiving and responding, these two process is done by the peripheral nervous system with the help of peripheral nerves. Clear? Now second thing is the central nervous system perform the processing phenomenon. It's perform the processing phenomenon. Clear? The processing phenomenon. Now this is a one central nervous system, a typical diagram of central nervous system. What happened? For example, take one example, like this is one muscle cell, okay, myocyte, one muscle cells. Now what happened? They need the the information of pain went to the spinal cord, okay, and then it will send from the spinal cord to the higher system, like we can say the cortex area, the motor cortex area of the frontal lobe, For example, okay, this is not the exact anatomical diagram, that's a functional diagram, I'm just making you to understand. See, it went to the motor area, motor cortex, okay. Now what happened after receiving the information, central nervous system process those information and make one judgment and send the one feedback, which is again went via the spinal cord, okay, to the muscle cell, Now the information which goes to the central nervous system, they are called the sensory information, okay, and via the sensory nerve, okay. So basically these are the sensory nerves, clear? Now whatever decision central nervous system made and they sent the feedback, okay, via the, okay, it's not a sensory, I'm sorry, it's a sensory nerve, okay. Now information goes through the sensory nerves, the processing phenomena happen, and then they respond, and the responding message come through the motor neurons, or we can say the motor neurons or nerves, okay, motor nerves. Clear? Now you are understanding that central nervous system and peripheral nervous system, they are not functionally different, okay, they are not functionally separate, okay. they are working in a synchronized fashions, okay, collaboratively they are working, okay. The different just cited here just because of understanding in a easy way, that's why they are differentiated. Otherwise the main thing functionally, if you look it into the deep, and we see, okay, they are functioning like a brotherhood, Second thing is this central nervous system, and these are the peripheral nervous system. In the case central nervous system, two things comes. The first thing is, if we talked about the central nervous system parts, then two things come. The first thing is called the brain, clear? First thing is brain, and second thing is spinal cord. Clear? That's a division of the central nervous system. Spinal cord and brain, they are the part of the central nervous system. Whereas for the peripheral nervous systems, the divisions is like two divisions. The first division, if we talked about the peripheral nervous system, okay, they have the two division. The first division is called the somatic peripheral nervous system, clear? And another one is autonomic peripheral nervous system. Write down these words: autonomic peripheral nervous system, clear? The first one is somatic peripheral nervous system, and another one is autonomic peripheral nervous system. Clear? I will tell you what it means, okay? As you know about the brain, okay, brain is divided anatomically into the three parts. The first part is called the forebrain, the next part is called the midbrain, and the last part is called the hindbrain, okay? That's a division of the brain, For the peripheral nervous system, the somatic peripheral nervous system carry those informations which are like the general, which are the voluntary information, like movement of the hand, okay, movement of the muscles, that all are the somatic peripheral movement of the joints, bones, all are the somatic peripheral nervous system, we can say the mechanism. For the autonomic peripheral nervous system, it's controls basically the involuntary movements. It's control the involuntary movements like the eye movement, okay, like the heart, the cardiac functions, all are regulated by the autonomic peripheral nervous system, okay. They are further classified, we will deal in our further lectures, but for just remember that autonomic nervous system is divided into the two parts. First one is called the sympathetic nervous system, nervous system, and second one is called the parasympathetic nervous system, clear? Now, till now we have studied that nervous system is a major system or a specialized system which involved in the control and coordination of various body parts. First thing, remember. Second thing, we have studied that central nervous system functions on the three bases. First, they will receive the information, okay, they receive the information from the body parts, from the external environment, and then they process those those cummed information, they process those information, they analyze, they make basically the coordinations, the compare and contrast with the previously stored information, then they make one link, and then they generate one response. That response is called basically the motor response, okay, motor response. So there are three processes you just keep in your mind, okay, the functions of nervous system work on. First is receiving, okay, receiving the information, processing the information, and responding the information, RPR. It's a function of nervous system, how our nervous system is working. Then we understood that peripheral nervous, the nervous system is basically declassified. For ease of study, the nervous system is basically classified. They are classified as either central nervous system or peripheral nervous system. About the central nervous system, we understood that it's the main control and command organ. It's the main control and command organ, okay. Now in the peripheral nervous system, we understood it's involved in the receiving and basically the sending process. It's involved in the basically the receiving the stimuli and the sending the stimuli. That's called the peripheral nervous system. Then we understood the classification of central nervous system. In the central nervous system, brain and spinal cord comes. In the case of peripheral nervous system, the somatic peripheral nervous system and autonomic peripheral nervous system is came. Okay, clear? Now we will see the basic first one structure, and then we will go into the detail about the overview of nervous system. Hope you clear with these concepts. It is very interesting to study about the nervous system. Okay, if you study the nervous system in a proper way, in a good way, like you can control your various problems. Okay, you can control your various problems, because there is one branch in medicines called the psychiatry. In the psychiatry, there is a detailed study of the nervous system and their abnormalities. Okay, their abnormalities. Psychologists are able to give the psychotherapies by which there are different kind of patients, like the depression patients, other disease patients. They will recover. Okay, they will recover. So now we will see their basic fundamental composition. Okay, basic fundamental compositions. We can say the composition of nervous system. Composition. Okay, now the constituents or the composition which constitute the nervous system is basically the cells. Okay, cells are the one who is a building block, okay, structurally and functionally in our body. So in the case of nervous system, neurons are the one who performed the structural, okay, the neurons are the one who perform the two things. First one is structural organization and the functional capability of nervous system. Clear? But you should not think that only neurons is the one. There is another cell also. And that cell is called that cell is called the neuroglial cells. That cell is called the neuroglial cells. Okay, neuroglial cells. About the neuroglial cells, it is not a neuronal cell. First of all, it's not a neuronal cells. The basic differentiations in between the neurons and the neuroglial cells is that they are the excitable cells. Now, what do you mean by the excitable? Excitable means if you put the neurons, if you stimulate the neurons with the electrical stimulus, they show the phenomenon of polarization or depolarization. Okay, there the charge which is present in the neurons, they arrange in a one fashion. This shows the phenomenon of polarizations and the depolarization and also the repolarization. Whereas if you electrically stimulate the neuroglial cells, they won't show any electrical activity, any electrical activity. Okay, that's the one difference. So neurons is a excitable cells. Okay, neurons is a excitable cell. Excitable cells, whereas the neuroglial cells, they are the non-excitable cells. Now this question comes to in your mind, then if it is a non-excitable cell, then what their function is, what is their function in the nervous system? Yes, there is a function in the nervous system associated with the neuroglial cells, is that it is a supporting cells. It is a supporting cells to the neurons. It is a supporting cells to the neurons. It is a supporting cells to the neurons. What? Now about the supportive, in which way they support? No, it's a first right supporting cell. Supporting cells. Now see, I will draw one typical diagram of the neurons. Okay, one typical diagram of neurons. See, this is one typical neuron. Okay, that's one typical neurons, and you know in the neurons there is one spike-like projections in their head, and these spike-like projection, very good, this is called the exactly the dendrites. Okay, and dendrites, and you know there is one presence of nucleus inside the neurons. Okay, they are a live cell, and apart from the neurons there is a nasal granules, which is basically the ribosomes is present, then the mitochondria and other cell organelles is present. Okay, now helping the first function of the neuroglial cells is it perform the myelination process. Okay, the myelination phenomenon to the neurons. It coat basically the axonal part of the neurons. Clear? Now, what is the significance of the coating? The significance of coating is that whatever electrical signals are generated from the cell body of the neurons, or comes to the external environment or generated from the neurons, they won't escape outside the exoplasm. Okay, they won't escape from the exoplasm or exolemma of the neurons. Okay, exolemma means cell membrane of the axon. This part is called the axon, this part of the axon, and this is called the cell body of the neurons. Okay, and this is the terminal end of the neurons. Okay, I will describe the neurons in detail in our further successive lecture, but for a while you just understand that there is something called axons present in the neurons. Okay, which is basically the covered or insulated by the neuroglial cells. Okay, by the neuroglial cells. Then in our lectures we will see in the case of central nervous system they are covered by the one type of neuroglial cells that called the oligodendrocyte. Clear? Now in the case of peripheral nervous system they will covered by the Schwann cell. The Schwann cell and oligodendrocytes is some of the type of neuroglial cells. Clear? Now the significance related with the myelination of the neuronal axon is that first, I told you they won't allow the electrical signals which is generated from the cell body and comes from the outer surface, outer environment, they won't escape out. Okay, they won't escape out. So basically these myelinations, the neuroglial cells, they insulate the neuron axon, and second thing is they make the faster conduction. Then what is the mean by the faster conduction? See, what happened, the information comes. Okay, so sometimes information goes directly through the exoplasm. Okay, exoplasm of the neuron, and sometimes what happens, they go through the surface, that's the exolemma. Now what happened, for propagating those electrical signals, the signals have to make the jump. Okay, signals have to make the jump. So now see the distance covering. Okay, distance covering one to another, and these 2 points they are called the node. They are called the nodes. Now, and some of the area in the neuronal axons, you seeing these areas. Okay, here the myelination are absent. This point is called the node of Ranvier. Write down node of Ranvier. Here there is no any myelination sheath is present, so electrical signals directly jump into this point, then again another point, and this propagation. Now this type of propagation is called the salutary conduction. This is called the salutary conduction. That's the one mode of conduction of the neuronal, we can say the electrical stimulus, the neuronal electrical stimulus. Clear? Now if I am concluding that the central nervous system is basically the central nervous system is basically made up of primarily by the neurons. Okay, and but there are also other supportive cells that's called the neuroglial cells, which help them to insulate, and their conduction, make their conduction faster. Okay, now the second things about that, neurons are the true cells. Okay, they are the true functional cells, they are the excitable cells, and the difference between the neurons and the neuroglial cells is that the neurons shows the electrical phenomenon, whereas the neuroglial cells, they won't show the electrical phenomenon. That's why they are also known as the non-excitable cells. Okay, clear? Now if we ask about the numbers, if you ask about the numbers, then the research, some of the research, modern research says the neurons and neuroglial are same in number, and sometimes neuroglial cells numbers become more. The neuroglial cells number become the more. Okay. Now, after understanding the composition of central nervous system, we will look into the understanding some of the terms related with the nervous system. Okay, because if initially I will clear it, then it will help us to understand the lecture deeply, perfectly. Okay, see, the first thing we should know is that what is central nervous system. We already understood. Okay, we understood about the peripheral nervous system. If one word you ask me to define the central nervous system, is basically the main control and command organ. Clear? Now, for the peripheral nervous system, it is one of the medium. Okay, it is a route. Okay, via which the information comes and goes out. It's basically, we can say, peripheral nervous system is basically the route, okay, via which information comes and out. Okay. Now, the another term related with the nervous system is the neurons. Understood? It's basically the structural and functional cell. Structural and functional cells. Clear? Now, the neuroglial cells, they are basically the supporting cells. In one word, supporting cells. Clear? Then we understood about the basic covering, that's called the myelination. Myelination is nothing, just a covering. It's a covering of the neurons, or in a broader way we can do the covering of the nerves. Okay. Then we should know 2-3 words also. Okay. Hope you clear with these terms. Now, the another term related with the nervous system. Is the autonomic nervous system. Autonomic nervous system. Okay, first I will define it, then I will tell you the one word definition. The autonomic, as the name suggests, autonomic. Okay, they are the self-driving system. They are a self-driving system of the nervous system. Okay, in the autonomic nervous systems, it's except the skeletal system, they control everything. Except the skeletal system, they control the everything. Okay. Second thing is, it comes into the picture, it's come into the performance when we have some, like we can, the fear conditions. Okay, when we have some of the fear conditions, on that time the central nervous systems, autonomic nervous systems start working, come into the picture, they start working. Okay, and if, like, suppose there is a division associated with the autonomic nervous system. The first one is called the sympathetic. Okay, and second one is called parasympathetic. Now see, when, as the name suggests, okay, mark the word, this sympathetic. When we need sympathy, when we are in a fear and anxious conditions, okay, when we don't arrive at the right decisions, okay, on that time the sympathetic nervous systems start working. Okay, they will stimulate some of our, the, we can say, the hormonal systems, okay, the endocrine system basically, they stimulate, they releases some of the enzymes which will compensate our body phenomena and make them stable once again, make them homeostatic environment once again. Whereas the parasympathetic nervous system, it does what? When we are in a relaxed conditions, okay, when we are in a relaxed condition, there is no any reoccurring thoughts, no any like the memory which comes in our mind which disturb us, okay, we are eating the good food, okay, everything is like perfect, then the parasympathetic nervous systems take over the work and they will perform their work. That's the one we can do, or the differentiations we can make regarding the autonomic nervous system. So hope you are clear with this term, the autonomic nervous system. Okay, so in one word we can say autonomic nervous systems, they will work in two ways, the sympathetic and parasympathetic way. Clear? The sympathetic and parasympathetic way. Okay, now the another term related with the central nervous system is the tract. See, the tract denotes the pathway. Tracts denote the pathway. Okay, tracts are the pathway present in the central nervous system. Tract is the pathway which is present in the central nervous system. Okay, it's the pathway. Basically, it is a pathway. Now, the one more term related with the nervous system is meninges. Now, I will tell you the brief histology, okay, of the nervous system. Now see, the meninges are basically related with the one part of the nervous system that's called the central nervous system, where the brain, okay, brain and spinal cord, very good, brain and spinal cord comes. Okay, so the meninges are basically the covering of the brain and the spinal cord. So see the diagram. See, this is one typical structure of our central nervous system. Okay, without cerebrum it's not complete, so it's a cerebrum. See, this is one central nervous system. Okay, now central nervous system is first of all covered by one soft layer, one delicate layer, and this delicate layer which I am showing in a black color, it's called the pia mater. It's called the pia mater, the first meninges of nervous system. Okay, first meninges of the nervous system is called the pia mater. It's the soft pia mater. Clear? Now, the another covering which is present after the pia mater is the arachnoid matter. Okay, it's just a rough diagram I am showing. Okay, it's not an anatomical diagram. Anatomically they are showing some of the variations, okay, related with their distributions. Okay, its second layer is basically called what? Arachnoid matter. It's the arachnoid matter. Okay, clear? It's a arachnoid matter. Now the last layer which is the above layer of all entire the three layers is called, very good, it's a very tough, it's a durable, that's called the dura mater. It's a dura mater. Okay, I make it different so that you can visualize it. It's basically the dura mater. Okay, it's a tough and also the double layered. It's a double layer, bilayer meninges. It's a bilayer meninges. Okay, what's name? Its name is the dura mater. Now, all these three layers collectively called the meninges, the covering of the brain, and if inflammation occur, This condition is known as meningitis. The condition is known as the meningitis. Probably you heard about this term, meningitis. It may be viral, tuberculosis, bacterial, okay, some inflammatory processes. There are different kind of the meningitis we will see in our next videos or the successive lectures. Okay, now these are the cover. So for the meninges, the one word answer is the one you understood these things, the covering, okay, the above first present the dura matter, then the arachnoid matter, then the pia matter. They are just a covering of the neurons. We will see in detail in our further lectures their clinical importance, okay, and their functions. So now in one word, how you define the meninges? Very good. It's a covering of the central nervous system. It's a covering of the central nervous system. It's a covering. It's a covering of central nervous system. Don't confuse with the covering of the neurons. That's something else. That's called the myelinations. It's a covering of the whole central nervous system. Now, the another term related with the nervous system is the matter, the white matter and the gray matter. Okay. So first we will see the gray matter. Okay, gray matter. See, for making you understand the gray matter, you just first see the pictures, the diagrams. See, if I draw one rough diagrams of the neurons, see, these are the collection of neurons. Okay, now the collection of neurons, these are the collection of neurons. In the case of central nervous system, the collection of neuronal cell bodies, these are the cell bodies of the neurons. Collection of neuronal cell body, okay, collection of neuronal cell body is called gray matter. It's called the gray matter. Clear? Gray matter. Why? Because if you the neuronal cell body is collected, they appear grayish in color. That's why they are called the gray matter. Okay, and these cell bodies, they make the nuclei in the central nervous system, which is functionally operating. The nuclei. Okay, write down the word also, the nuclei. It's a collection of neuronal cell body. Collection of neuronal cell body. Okay, and the gray matter is also called the collection of neuronal body, says the grayish color. Okay, then this matter is called the gray matter. Okay, it's also a collection of cell body, where in the central nervous system. Clear? Now the another term related with the nervous system is white matter. Now you know that if the collection of cell body appear is gray, and the collection of axonal body constitute the white matter. Okay, see, these are the neurons. And these collections appear white, so they are called the white matter. Clear? Okay, now the another term related with the central nervous system you will come across frequently is the proprioception. See, these terms denote the informations comes from the, we can say, the skeletal system, or another word we can say the locomotory system. All the informations come from the joint, bone, tendons. Okay, joints, bones, tendons. Every information is called the proprioception. Clear? Okay. Now the another term related with the nervous system, is another term related with the nervous system is nerve. See, the singular word called the neurons, okay, and the nerve is basically the collection of neurons. It's a collection of neurons outside the central nervous system. Collection of neurons, okay, collection of neurons is called the nerves outside the central nervous system, means it is present in the peripheral nervous systems. So all those nerves we call nerves, neurons. Nerves is basically the collection of neurons. It is properly covered. We will see these things in our upcoming lectures. So now another term about the nervous system. Another term about the nervous system is that we can say the another term related. We already covered all those terms. Now just write down the last term related with the central nervous system is CSF. Okay, CSF. You know the extended form of the CSF. It's called the what? Yeah, cerebrospinal fluid. Okay, I make that diagram. No, in that diagram, in the subarachnoid space, this CSF fluid is like circulating, transporting, and it's produced by the one structures called the ventricles of the brain. We will see in our upcoming lectures the ventricles of the brain. The clinical importance of the CSF is they provide the buoyancy of the brain. Okay, buoyancy of brain. And second thing is they have clinical importance. Okay, by analyzing the cerebrospinal fluid, you can make the diagnosis of some of the central nervous diseases. Okay, so it's help in the clinic. It have the clinical importance because the CSF contain we can say the defined number of lymphocyte, RBC. There's no RBC present. The other proteins, defined number of the constituents is present. Okay, so if their number goes high or down, we can analyze, interpret those things and diagnose a disease. Okay, the another things is they help to prevent the mechanical injury. Okay, we will not go right now in detail of the CSF. We will see in our upcoming lecture. So for concluding today's lectures, we've seen that the central nervous system is the main control and command organ in our body. Okay, main control and we can say the control and command system in our body. Okay, they work with the endocrine system. Okay, they work with the endocrine systems and make our body's environment homeostatic. Okay, the stable environment. Then we understood about the nervous system is that they are constituted by some of the fundamental cells. Okay, the main cells is the neurons, but other cells is also present. That's called the neuroglial cells. Then we understood about some of the terms related with the central nervous system. So hope you understood today's class. Okay, bye. Have a nice day.